98.1.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. I'm Ayo Myro SA. It is time for Freshly Pressed 981, 7:30 a.m., part of the Smooth Breakfast Show. This is where we bring you detailed analyses of today's national news headline stories. Joining me to analyze the stories today, I have Divo Okorie. Morning, Divo.
Morning Lagos, morning AY, Eku, forfeited assets.
Okay. In a moment, we'll find out what Divo means by that. In the meantime, here's how you can join the conversation. You can send a message to WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp platform is 0809 444 0981. That's 0809 444 0981. You can also tweet at us at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag Freshly Pressed 981. We're also streaming live on YouTube, so please head on to YouTube, Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Use the well, you don't need to use the hashtag, but you can comment using the comment section. All right, let's move on to our very first story for this morning. On NIN, now that's the National Identification Number. Nigerian government extends phone registration deadline. Devo, from this report is in the Premium Times, but I'm sure it's in most of the dailies this morning, as it was big news yesterday. I think just before I left work was when the news broke, so yesterday morning. However, it's still very relevant. This is the third time the government is extending the deadline. They now say the exercise will continue till April 6th. The 8-week extension was announced by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, at the Ministerial Task Force meeting on NIN SIM registration on Tuesday. He said the extension is to give Nigerians and legal residents more time to integrate their NIN with the SIM. Now, something else that's interesting, I mean, the meeting was chaired by Mr. Pantami himself, had high-level personalities and executives in the value chain, in the communications value chain, and of course the Nigeria National Identity Management Commission. They praised the exercise, said they've collected 56.18 million NINs in total, up from 47.8 million reported by the Technical Committee on January 18. Something else worthy of note is that the president is happy with the move of the minister, and is saying that he commends the work that the minister is doing. And finally, he mentioned that they've been able to adhere to safety protocols around COVID. I don't know how confident or how many people agree with that, but Diva, I'd like to get your thoughts on this one, please.
Honestly, this story, uh, it takes every breath out of me, because sometimes in this nation we don't have to always follow the precedent. And what I mean by that is, then doing things the wrong way keep heading in the wrong direction. And why I say this is because we know that amid the pandemic and the fear of super spreader locations, like public areas, which have been banned and prohibited or minimized, depending on the state law, many have been arrested. The NIN registration centers, because of these deadlines, have been a major source of COVID-19 spreading around the nation. And it's reported, and the government has almost kept a vote face or a blind eye, or through the PTF decided not to comment on this instance of people gathering in high numbers till date to get their name registered. To the point of the story,
Yeah.
the only reason why people gathered and kept on coming was because of the deadlines given by the Minister of Communications through the Minister, Dr. Issa Pantani, in December, of which when people reacted that they couldn't meet up with the last day of December deadline, they shifted it by a month again. And then obviously we're now in February, realizing that they hadn't completed the exercise, that there was still a large number of Nigerians that had not registered. They extended it once more. This is now till the April the 6th. Now, against the reviews and the better knowledge that had come from the National Assembly to take this up to about 6 months, and some quarters of the society did say leave it ongoing like any other registration uh, feature or tool, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The minister has insisted that this deadline will hold. Now, this 8 week extension came through the minister, that was yesterday, when he was speaking to some of the telco stakeholders, as well as the CEOs of some of the telcos. What he did mention that about 56 million NINs had been collected from the mobile operators, which is a increase, significant increase from the 47.8 million that were reported by the technical committee in January. They also stated about 1,060 registration centers had been activated by NIN nationwide, while mobile operators opened hundreds of centers. Now, even this mobile aspect just started last week, so I'm not sure what this reportage is trying to prove, because
Mm.
we're yet to see the fullness of the telco operators as they have been enjoined to join in the effort to
Well, many
register.
of them have. In fact, there are a few jingles to tell people that they are
Yes, like I said,
registering.
it just started last week, but we're
Okay.
yet to see the effect of that. I'm yet to see people who have gone to the telcos to say that, okay, I didn't have to go to the NIN center.
Okay.
I took the option of going with my telco. I got registered. So we're yet to see that. We
Okay.
want to see hard, credible evidence. Also, as you know, the telcos bring efficiency to this. We also want to see um, the numbers reduced. But as of yesterday, there was still the usual fighting, the usual horde uh, pressure
Yeah.
mounted up at the NIN center.
All
So
right, let me ask a question. Now, this is a comment that's come through and it's a concern for many Nigerians. Let me ask, is it free to register for your national identification number, or do you have to pay a sum of money?
okay,
Because the experience of many people is that they've been asked to part with some sum. This person here says the problem is not extension, but the money they are collecting. I can't pay 5,000 naira and above for it.
that person must have just, maybe they've been away from Nigeria for so long. We know in this country that everything that is either free or given a nominal price is always hiked up on the instance of rent seeking. Rent seeking is when an opportunity is created whereby you cannot get that aspect or that government, let's use for the lack of a better word, Bali or NIN in this case, easily as the government has said it.
Mm.
Therefore, you seek alternative means, and most officials cash in on this by creating these cash payment opportunities. The minister had said it severally that the NIN is free, okay? It comes at no cost.
Mm-hmm.
But however, because of the large crowds and the pressure in controlling them at the centers, many of the officials have been engaging in this profiteering and racketeering, even from those who say, "Oh, put your name on this list. I'll help you come in." On TV, we've seen people saying that, "Well, we wrote our names down as they had suggested.
Mm-hmm.
Yet when I came back, they took another list."
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been a whole lot of chaos, and then amidst the chaos, the fatal danger of the COVID-19
Absolutely.
spreading. It's like I said, it's unfortunate that we have to keep doing things in the wrong manner. Um, what is the point of pressure? The deadline. And I understand that there's well, we hear for some quarters that there's a security implication to this registration. The objectives are noble, however, the approach is completely
Mm.
wrong. While the telcos, I expect them, let's say within the next 1 month, to be fully optimized, you need to get the message out there or send a message that will quell the pressure
Okay.
so that people can relax
Okay.
and go at it in a normal fashion
All right.
without causing harm to themselves.
Thank you. Kenneth says his neighbor did his registration yesterday at one of the telco offices in
Okay, that's
Okota.
one confirmation.
All right. Daily Times has this story. Lagos Assembly passes 21 years imprisonment bill into law for cultists. The Lagos House of Assembly late on Monday, that's 2 days ago, passed a bill banning the activities of cultists and related illegal societies across the state into a law. This new law stipulates a 21-year imprisonment for anyone found guilty of engaging in cult activities. Beyond that, if you aid or abet cultists or you allow cultists on your premises or you allow your premises to be used by cultists as a meeting place, you also face up to 15-year jail term. The Speaker of the House Assembly, Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, has directed the Clerk of the House to transmit the law to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for assent. What do you make of this law, Divo?
Well, the Lagos State House of Assembly has passed a bill in the interest of its own constituents, and this has to do with banning the activities of cultists and related illegal societies across the states. All right, 21-year jail imprisonment for anyone found guilty in engaging in these activities. Now, it breaks it down because we need to understand the interpretation. All right, because what you would ask is, what is a cultist? Now, this it also stipulates a 15-year jail term for anyone convicted for abetting cultists or allows the premises to be used by cultists as a meeting place. Okay, and that speaks to sponsors. Now, what do you call it?
What exactly sponsors? It's just you aiding and abetting. So
yeah, look,
if you
when
know
I
that,
say aiding and abetting, I'm talking about if you're helping them out in any form or way.
All right.
And this also has, if you're providing food, if you're doing anything that supports the activities of cultists, you are liable.
And illegal societies.
Yes, to be jailed for 15 years. Now, the prohibition states that any society is regarded unlawful, and this is where the definition comes, if the members carry out illegal, destructive activities contrary to public policy, safety, and peace of members of the public. All right. Anybody who identifies themselves as such attends such meetings, whether attends or intentionally, or cult commits an offense, is liable for conviction for the 21 years. Now, the issue is, yes, this is coming on the threat of many calls that the police and security services have identified within many locations within the state. My question is this: whilst most of the cultists most times are hardly identified, what are they going to do about Agberos? Do they consider Agberos as cultists? Are their activities legal? Have they been doing things for safety, or have they not been harassing or doing things violently? Because I want to see how far they're able to enforce it. It's one thing to pass the law, it's another thing to enforce it.
That's an interesting view, Divo.
That's the truth.
What do people, would you classify touts, popularly referred to as Agberos? Would you call them cultists? Would they be seen as legal societies, or are they because they're not an organized body, are
yes,
they?
they are organized.
Do they have a?
They collect fees.
I mean, they are unofficially organized, but they don't have a body.
They collect fees.
They don't have a body. Who are you going to hold responsible as the president of the South?
That's for the security services, who will now be given this law once passed to be able to enforce. So we're hoping that they break it down, the modus operandi, to ensure that the what do you call it, security service know what to do and how to identify such.
Someone's asking, what of OPC? Michael from Ugudu.
Well, I would say that OPC is registered.
Yes.
OPC is not an invisible odd body society. They are registered.
Yeah. As with a number of organizations or societies like that,
yes,
you will have some bad eggs there who are not, who
OPC has been registered for a long time.
Yeah. Right. Let me take this one because it seems to be coming up a number of times. So this is Yemi from Marina. Contrary to what Divo said, it does not matter what the government utterances are. If you have to go to a government establishment to do anything, be ready to pay more. It costs 7,500 naira officially to get a driver's license. I recently had to pay 16,000 naira for a SIM. Ask anyone. This is a big problem that needs to be discussed, needs to be dealt with, needs to be addressed. We have accepted it in quotes as the norm, but this is not normal. We shouldn't have to pay for things that are free, number one, or pay for things that
more than their price.
More than their price.
However, you see, the truth is, corruption is endemic. Endemic means it has spread across the whole nation. All right. The corruption in Nigeria is legendary. It is not just an incident. It is not a moment. It is culture. You are even made to feel bad for not following the practice. Some people literally, like I said, children that were born 2000 till date, and let's even backtrack it even to the 1990s, have not seen an society. They have always known that to get what you want in society, you need to give something or pay something.
Yeah.
That is how they have been wired. So, in their understanding, paying a little extra to get what you need is not corruption. They simply see it as
The way of
smartness.
life. Yeah.
So, when you say we need
And
to deal with
efficiency.
it, government obviously has not shown a firm hand because it starts from the top. If you pick one or two eggs, bad eggs, you haven't done nothing.
Doesn't really start from the top, Divo, because who gives them? If we refuse and we all decide that we are going to follow due process, then
Follow due process, follow the leader. If your leaders, if your parents, if those who are in influential positions also steal, also do one or two things by the side to get what they want, what more do you expect the people to do? Is to follow likewise. It's the same thing that happens at elections, which famously is now referred to as stomach infrastructure, which is simply graft. Same thing that happens at every for passports, people pay extra. Why do you have people praying and fasting just to get their passport? At the visa, at the embassies, you have the same
so
thing.
there's always a way to cut corners.
Yes, at when you get your which other form is there?
Driver's license.
Driver's license. Which other one? Land papers, etc.
Last one.
You are going to continue this graft at all levels in every state.
Well,
common entrance.
let me ask you,
GSS, SSS.
I think we also have to take responsibility for this because we organize these things. We pay for these things to make, in quote, life easier for us. If they didn't have a market for that, it wouldn't thrive so much. So let me ask Nigerians who are listening, would you be willing to go through the process and not give extra? So just so that
your question is belated, or the question should have asked in 1970.
Says Agberos can be likened to a tout and not cultist. It would be interesting to see how this law is interpreted. A number of people, well, two people have said that, shared that sentiment. So thanks a lot. And then others have also said Agberos are members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW. What do you think about that, Joe?
No, not all Agberos are members of NUWRT. Yes, NUWRT, there's a very close nexus to their operations. However, those are some of, that's why I said the interpretation of this law will need to be stated so that people can understand how it's going to be enforced.
Okay, Yewande says it's a choice. I renewed my license online, paid the fee at the bank, and within 2 weeks, I got an SMS that was ready for pickup at Sura. I didn't pay a dime. The ladies were nasty when I went to pick up. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about the attitude of customer service in Nigeria or the public service in particular. Let's move on to the next story. Panic in NYSC headquarters camps as resident officer dies of COVID-19 from the Punch. I just mentioned here that as always, as with most Punch reports, it's very detailed and goes beyond just the headline story. I'll stick to the headline because of our time. So there was panic among staff of the National Youth Service Corps on Tuesday after a resident officer died of COVID-19. The Punch gathered that the top officer was posted to the permanent orientation camp in Kano a few days ago where he developed coronavirus symptoms and died on Tuesday. Now, following his death, workers of the NYSC in Abuja and orientation camps, understandably, particularly in Kano, had been gripped by fear of contracting the virus. Recall that the Economic Sustainability Committee, led by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, had in June last year called on the federal government to consider suspending the NYSC orientation camp exercises for 2 years. Of course, that wasn't considered favorably because the NYSC still went ahead. Now, what they're saying now is that the NYSC Deputy Director, Press and Public Relations, Emeka Mbemena, has confirmed the death of the officer to the Punch, but said he died outside the orientation camp. So they're trying to remove from the fact that he was due to COVID, or people shouldn't panic. But of course, people,
no, that it wasn't in the camp.
Yeah, it wasn't in the camp, but he also didn't confirm. He said yes. If you read the report, they tried not to say that it was definitely COVID that he died from and that he died outside the camp. Yes, they all had to do the test, but others are saying they're trying to hide this. He did, and they need to test people who are there, and they're afraid that they might have contracted it.
Well, what I'd say with this is God rest his soul. However, this has to do with the caution that as a people that we must all bear as we are trying to battle the pandemic. As you know, there's the first battle of those believing that there is COVID. There's a second battle in adopting the safety protocols, which are meant for individuals to keep themselves safe. Now, the third battle, which is the most painful, is the economic activities. Do you bring everything to a halt? How will we survive as a nation? We were already in a bad situation. So I don't think the federal government ignored the recommendations not to reopen. They simply said, okay, at some point we'll have to continue our daily economic activities. However, we would ensure, which I think I can attest to, I've been to a few camps, that the COVID testing preventive protocols are put in place. And I think the camps have actually been very serious about this operation. It's not the open centers that we used to know. As with the story did mention that they've scaled down on a lot of the officials in many of the camps. Also, the number of candidates, that's the youth corps members, have also been reduced. They're not in the crowded batches that existed before, and they're testing regularly within the camp. So it's not just one test and everybody goes. They test them regularly to ensure that, yes, in some cases, in some locations, I think like Akwa Ibom, Kano here, I think that was also Abuja, where they were found positive, they were put into isolation outside the camp. So the also, as you know, for those who have served, they don't eat at the Mami market anymore. They buy their foods and take away to where they would have space. Wash hand basins, liquid soap, running waters, and sanitizers are placed strategically within the camps. So what we pray for is that pending whenever the what do you call it, the vaccine is made appropriately available around federal government institutions and also for Nigerians, NYSC core camps need to adhere to these safety protocols stringently to ensure that they do not place the life of the officials and the core members in any danger.
All right, thank you very much, Divo. I'll move on from that story. Just a few comments. Harry is asking me, or he's saying that the system and procedure is so cumbersome that you're forced to go the alternative route. Jennifer says, I would be willing to pay the right fee for any government service. I agree with your viewpoint, Ayo. If we all took a stance, we will be able to change the narrative on corruption.
That is wishful thinking.
Divo, you see, this is the typical thinking that has made corruption continue to
I want us to first agree with the hard facts.
Of course.
When we agree with the hard facts, then we can then also find a solution.
Yes, so it's a solution we're finding this
that we should
morning.
all take a stand.
Yes, we should.
Well, we can't even take a stand on good leadership.
Ayomide from Otta says, kindly ask the lady who paid for her license renewal online to please share the link. Well, I've done the work for you, Ayomide. So you can go onto the FRSC's website, and I hear that it's quite a seamless process for you to fill your form online to renew your driver's license, and you can actually pay there, or you could go on any or many of your bank apps, and there's an option there to pay for your driving license. Okay, so yes, we can do the right thing.
Yes, but what about capture?
To renew. They said it took 10 minutes. I'm not. Divo just wants to prove that you need to pay for everything. No, you don't.
No.
Little drops of water.
That is a misinterpretation. I am trying to capture the frustration in the system.
I
Remember, there's a federal government initiative called Ease of Doing Business.
Yes.
How come the Ease of Doing Business did not apply to this NIN registration? Is it because we don't have Oibos also coming up in line?
Okay. All right, let's move on to our next headline. New Telegraph. Federal government. So back to your ECHO. This is the foundation of that. Or this is the source of that. Federal government begins sales of forfeited multi-billion naira assets. The Interministerial Committee on the Disposal of Assets Forfeited to the federal government yesterday began the process of disposing of multi-billion naira assets seized from some politically exposed persons. The committee visited some of the forfeited properties located in the FCT Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for verification in preparation for their sales. The seized assets are scattered in 25 locations across the country. Some of these, the committee is led by its chairman, Dayo Apata, SAN. What do you think about this?
Well, it's a strong position from this administration in terms of their trying to address corruption in the system. However, it's a drop in the ocean because it's the beginning of bringing in some efficiencies. As you do know, there's still issues. The case is still ongoing with the current czar of the EFCC, as to his impropriety while on the job. And one of the major issues was handling of the confiscated assets. Now, what is happening here is that the EFCC, okay, as well as the ICPC, have secured interim and final forfeitures of assets alleged to be proceeds of crime from former ministers, governors, top civil servants, the military brass in courts. All right? Now, former Minister of Petroleum, Mrs. Alison Diazani Madrike, and her business associates have lost several assets to the FG. All right, the chairman of the committee, Akbata, said that the decision, PMB's decision to act as Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to coordinate the sale of assets forfeited to the federal government is to ensure uniformity and transparency. Now, basically, what they recovered from some of the alleged and convicted crimes of some of these people, it covers stuff like, and this is what they did with the money, or what they did with what they were able to claim from government: luxury houses, water vessels, ships, boats, canoes, motor vehicles, plants, machinery, electronics, furniture, equipment, jewelry, ornaments, and clothing materials. Wow, it's going to be a real big flea market. Now, basically, this is scattered across 25 locations within the country. And we hope that, as they said, in recognition with the need to coordinate the management and recovery, the supervision will be done at the federal government level, thereby leading to the loss of, thereby leading to some level of transparency. So we're waiting to see how this forfeiture takes place. We hope, as with most recovered or corrupt tendencies within this country, that it is not relooted. Do you understand?
That is the key word.
Because the last time the federal government attempted to sell some of the assets that they seized, they were sold to cronies at less than very affordable or giveaway prices. So we hope that this is done in a transparent manner and everybody sees who wins it or who gets it, or everybody is invited to the process in an open and transparent manner.
So many comments have come through on whether you will pay or not pay to access a service from the civil service. Olusheyi Olufikayo Labi on YouTube says, I tried to renew online. I paid and got no SMS. I went to a nearby FRSC office for more guidance and no one could help me. I eventually got my driver's license renewed, in quotes, the usual way. Yinka says 21 years for court members. How many years for political thugs and notorious NURTW members? By the way, it's called a secret cult for a reason. So if I own a pub and some guys gather to drink, how do I know they are cultists? Is it that they have banners up? Yinka, you know now. Some of these are things you know. And then he says, jewelry. Can we have a list of the buyers of these assets? I'm asking for someone. And Shegun says, so no factories in the seized assets. All right, let's move on.
That's who asked that?
We have very interesting listeners and commenters, honestly. Right, so a few headlines I'll touch on briefly, and then Divo ask, I think we'll just take one more story. But good news, National Assembly makes U-turn, says no voting for underage married girls, premium times. The fact that they even tried to put it in is a problem. And then this day, just an update says, despite Police Act single term, IG may get tenure extension. We already discussed this in detail, Divo, and a number of people did see it coming. I mean, if you haven't appointed or the police committee haven't suggested or recommended another IG, there's been no handover to the next senior official, then obviously the writing is on the wall.
The mixed stories here, because what it says is that the source said northern leaders, including a powerful emir in the northwest, were rooting for one of the newly promoted AIGs.
Yeah, but they're not part of the police committee.
Yes, but
they can want.
My point is, I think there's an update on this story that an acting AIG has been appointed, or deputy or something like that. I think we need to get more information here. However, it's just the real point of this story is that the presidency through Garba Shehu saying that, well, the president would not let someone go if he has not had a farewell meeting is a smack on the face. You're really insulting the intelligence of Nigerians. Come on, this is a corporate work here. This is government. You knew he was retiring. What are you saying, that you put a farewell party ahead of the operation of 300,000 police nationwide? Please stop calling Nigerians stupid.
All right, on that update, I have the nation open and it says Buhari orders IG Adamu to hand over. Let's see the detail of this report just to see that it was just updated not very long ago. Okay, these are still strong indications that the president has asked the IG of police, Mohammed Adamu, to hand over. He completed his 35 years service on Monday. He was expected to have handed over to the most senior officer. He was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe airport yesterday to receive President Buhari, who returned to Abuja from Daura. Right, he will know his fate anyway. So let's not speculate. We'll wait for.
It's not about Adamu. It's way beyond Adamu.
It is.
It's
We've discussed this
beyond
on
the office of the IG. Like I said, you have the operations
Mhm.
that is already that has failed of about 300 Nigerian policemen nationwide. I mean, come on. If there was anything about reform,
Yeah.
this would have been one of the things up front. The same way you change your service chiefs,
After
I'm
5 years.
sure somebody in the presidency would have whispered it into the ears of the headship that please, whilst we're changing our military brass,
There's another one up for
the
me.
IG within a week is going. Can we just,
So who should we blame? Just very quickly as we go. Is it the head or his advisors or people that should be
the answer to that question is flying in the wind. Please put on your mask so that you don't catch us.
All right. Yinka says that, do I know court members from their faces alone? I hope the law won't confirm. Please, I don't know any. I'm just saying that if you're a pub or, you own facilities that they use, sometimes you're privy to this information and you aid that society. I'm just saying that. That's all on the show this morning. However, at 9 o'clock, we can actually discuss in detail most of these stories, especially the ones that have caught your attention. We'll open the phone lines there. You become the analyst during Lagos Talks 981, and you can share your thoughts with us on any story that you'd like to from the ones we've selected this morning. In the meantime, enjoy some smooth music. At 8:15, Tega will be here for the Locker Room 981, and then 9 o'clock we go in for Lagos Talks 981. Thank you, Divo. Divo is at Divo Okore on Twitter. Please follow him, and we are Smooth 981 FM. Use the hashtag Freshly Pressed 981.
The headlines. The story.
Thank you.
The news. In-depth analysis on national current affairs. Freshly pressed.